Hi, this is Glenn Garnes with the Village Connector Community News and the Village Connector Community Marketing System. I've prepared this educational presentation to help our marketing advisors understand the philosophies and concepts that they're going to need to embrace if they want to be successful in marketing our community marketing system. And I believe that you're going to find that the things that we're going to share with you in this presentation will help you to achieve success not just when you're promoting the Village Connector, but when you are doing anything that's worth doing in life. Most of you are not full-time marketing advisors with us, which means that you have something else that you're doing as a profession or as a living. In fact, our product is just one of many products that you may be representing. So I'm hoping that by helping you to become better at who you are and what you do, that you will also in the process enhance your ability to properly represent the Village Connector Community Marketing System. Now, I want you to know right up front that we're going to spend a lot of time talking about some personal development and self-improvement principles, because the only way I know to excel and to become successful is to make a commitment to be better at who I am and better tomorrow than I was today. I'm going to share with you those types of things that I think will benefit you as well. Now, as it relates to the Village Connector, I believe that you have an incredible opportunity with us. For one thing, you are working with a quality, cutting-edge program that is consistently being improved. Many of you have already seen that. If you've been around with us for any amount of time, even if it's only been a few months, you have seen how serious we are about improving the quality of the program. We're always adding new benefits, improving what we already have, and teaching our merchants, the people that participate in our program, our members, how to get the most out of this program at all times. Because we're committed to their success in the same way that I am personally committed to your success in having a career with Village Connector. You also have available to you a very substantial income. And what I mean by that is that our compensation plan, I truly believe that in the context of media sales and even direct marketing sales generally, that our compensation plan is about as generous as anything in the general community, especially when we talk about selling programs directly to, or selling products and services directly to business merchants, business customers. You have a very generous way to be compensated, and because of that, you've got to take this seriously. The other thing is that our program, from the perspective of the marketing advisor, requires a relatively small amount of labor, expense, and learning curve. Because even though it takes time to figure out all the things that we do, most of the things are not foreign to you. A lot of the social networking tools that are built into our system are common to other platforms. What we've done is simply pulled them all under one roof and made them into a package that's more affordable and more attractive to the typical customer. So we basically have given you the best of everything that we've seen on the web in one neat little package that you can present to merchants without them having to understand everything that there is to know about marketing and social media and internet marketing or whatever else it might be. So we want you to be able to start your journey with us off by appreciating the quality of the opportunity that you have here with us. And again, if you did not believe that the opportunity was a quality opportunity, I don't think that you would be here. Now, some of you are here and you haven't fully engaged, or you're kind of kicking the tires, you're kind of hoping that something's going to work out. And what I'm here to tell you is that this program is going to very much be up to you to make happen. We've kind of set the table. We've filled your toolbox. We have made it possible for you to have everything that you need to go out and promote the program properly. But ultimately, the reason we have marketing advisors is because it's up to you to go out and share that message that we share with you with your general community. That's why we pay such a handsome commission when you're successful in sharing the program with local merchants. So that is your opportunity right now. And we're here to support you in any way we can to make sure you maximize that opportunity, because when you do, you're helping not only yourself, but also the local communities that we seek to serve. Now, There are certain qualities that I have found are part of the makeup, if you will, of any quality sales professional. I don't care what it is you're selling. There are certain things that sales professionals that are truly professionals, truly quality people in connection with their sales activity, their career, they possess these qualities, and I want to go through them with you very quickly here. The first one is that they have a sincere desire to help others. I call that acting with a servant's heart, where you're praying with people, not on them. And again, there is a big distinction there. Sometimes we are working with people and it's more important for us to get the sale than to get the customer what the customer really needs. We want to resist the temptation to head down that path, because all that does is to lead to people who are unsatisfied with the products and services that we offer. We also want to be mindful of the need to have a willingness to work consistently. Anything that is worth doing right, and the right way to do it is to be consistent in what you do. So many of us fall into the trap of doing it on and off again, on and off again, on and off again, and we wonder why our results are on and off again. If we can develop a commitment to be consistent, that's when the results get consistent. And of course, you must be teachable. And what I mean by that is that a lot of us come to this opportunity in particular with background. We already have sales experience. We've already done media sales. We've already worked with business-to-business sales before, and we sometimes can allow that to kind of cloud our ability to grow by learning new skills or by seeing it from the perspective of somebody that's new to us who might be able to share something that helps us to become better at who we are. So what we're going to do is ask you to decide for yourself whether you have the ability to claim these qualities as part of who you are. Because these are the people who we know will be most successful, not just with selling the Village Connector community marketing system, but with everything else that they do. Remember, success is 90% attitude and 10% skill. So a big part of what we're doing here is going to relate to how much you can focus on bringing the right energy and the right attitude to your activities. Now, on that note, I want to dwell a little bit on the importance of a positive mental attitude. This is probably the single most important thing that you need to get right if you want to become truly successful in what you do. And when I say successful, I'm not saying everyone has the goal of making millions of dollars. Everyone measures success by their own yardstick, but whatever that yardstick may be, we know that these characteristics that we're going to talk about right now are going to be part of the equation if you're going to be successful regardless of what it is. So we know that attitude, your attitude towards things, is going to be a big factor in whether you can become successful. We've found, and I've learned, I've been taught myself through many mentors, people of the likes of Jim Rohn and Brian Tracy and Les Brown and Anthony Robbins and all kinds of the icons in the industry, that attitude is probably the single most important characteristic in terms of whether you will achieve success or not. And they've all found that your attitude leads you to the actions that you'll take. And of course, the actions that you take will lead you to the results that you'll get. And it's the results that lead you to the type of lifestyle that you then get to live, whatever that might be for yourself. So if attitude leads to action, and action leads to results, and results lead to lifestyle, if you understand that dynamic, then the rest of this will make sense to you, because what we need to bring to the table is a positive mental attitude. A positive attitude will naturally lead you to positive action. And positive action taken consistently will lead you to positive results. And it's those positive results that will allow you to live the positive lifestyle that presumably you've set out to claim for yourself here. I don't think anyone goes out into life hoping to be unsuccessful, hoping to be a failure, hoping to be an underachiever. So we start with the premise that everyone is looking to be successful. And if that's the case, then the people who are most likely to accomplish that, to claim that for themselves, are the ones who have a positive attitude that leads to positive action, leads to positive results, and therefore leads to the positive lifestyle that you seek to achieve. Now, unfortunately for a lot of us, we want those results, but we are doing things that sabotage our efforts to get there because some of us have a negative attitude. And of course, a negative attitude leads us to take negative action. Sometimes not taking any action at all is the same as taking negative action. If you should be out presenting or sharing or meeting or connecting or networking with someone who could potentially introduce you to quality candidates to become your customer, and you're sitting at home listening to the radio or watching TV or worse, engaging in self-destructive behavior, then that's going to obviously lead you to negative results. And of course, those negative results are going to guarantee you a negative lifestyle. Now, I hope you see the connection between those two things, because now you know that being successful means simply changing your polarity where you may be engaging in negativity to embracing positivity. And I know that sounds a little metaphysical and everything, or philosophical, but the fact is that this is where it starts. You literally have to have your head in the game. You literally have to have things going right inside your brain before the things that you do and say are going to result in quality lifestyle for yourself. So get that straight first. And again, regardless of whether it's relating to Village Connector or anything else that you do, this is going to be something that you're going to want to have in mind everywhere you go. And you'll see lessons all around you when you go to networking events. You'll see people that have a positive outlook on what's going on, and you'll naturally be drawn to them when you have a positive attitude. On the other hand, if you're one that's embracing a negative attitude, you'll have a tendency to be hanging out with the people that have a negative attitude. And of course, that has a tendency to lead down its own path. So you need to decide right now which path you're going to be on. Because I can tell you right now that the people who are going to be successful with Village Connector are going to be the ones that are on the path of positivity. Another thing that you're going to need to decide in this context is, what do you really want? Why are you involved with the Village Connector community marketing system? For that matter, why are you involved in anything that you're doing? Did you do it because people expected you to do it, or did you do it because you really wanted to be part of it? Did you do it because you didn't know if there was anything else you could do? Did you do it because you were fearful? Or was it peer pressure? What you have to decide is, what do you really want? Because until you decide what you really want, it's almost impossible for you or anyone else to help you to get the things done that need to be done for you to accomplish it. So once you decide what you really want, you're going to be able to take the right action. It'll readily be apparent to you once you decide that what the next step is going to be. And once you decide that, the next step is going to be making a commitment to do the things that are necessary to get it. And there may be a short list of things to do. There may be a lot of things to do depending on what you're setting out to accomplish. But one thing that has to be done before you can make a commitment to do the things necessary, you must decide what it is that you want. And then the last thing, of course, is going to be consistent in taking action. Because again, if it was something that could be done just willy-nilly or just without much thought, everyone would be doing it, and then it wouldn't be worth doing. It's the people who can focus, who can be consistent in what they're doing, who can be clear about where they're going and how they're going to get there. You may not know all the answers, all the doors may not immediately be apparent to you. But being consistent and continuing to move down the road, taking steps, moving down the road, is what I'm talking about when I talk about consistent action. One of my favorite quotes comes from Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And he says, take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. And the reason that's important is because, as I said, you're not going to necessarily know every door that's going to open for you to take you from point A to point B. But what you have to do is you have to start knocking on the doors. You have to start going through the doors. You have to start seeing what's on the other side of the door so that you know what the next step could be. The people who never get started knocking on the doors, they don't even know what's on the other side for them. So I want you to understand that having these little principles, these sound like little things. You probably heard them 100 times. In fact, you might even consider them to be common knowledge, because they are common knowledge. But what I have found is that the people who can take common knowledge and turn it into common practice are the ones that achieve success. I want that for you, but you've got to want it for yourself because I can't want it for you. So what you do is not as important as the spirit in which you do it. And what I mean by that is that you've got to be looking forward to going into your career, whatever that is for you. You've got to be looking forward to representing this product. If you're not excited about it, how can you possibly get other people excited about it? Well, I certainly hope you'll be excited about it because I couldn't be more excited about it. I eat, sleep, live, breathe, and do all kinds of things with this product. And the bottom line is it's because I know that we've done the right thing for the people that we seek to serve with our program. You're going to find out more about the program itself through some other lessons where we're orienting you and educating you on the program. But I can assure you that at the end of this presentation, you'll be well prepared to understand the value of what we've put together for you to share with merchants. Now, there are 4 basic skills that you need to have. We talked about qualities. Now we're going to talk about skills. Qualities are about who you are, and skills are about what you're able to do. So the first skill you're going to need to have is to learn how to present the product. And in order to present the product properly, you have to know it well. It's not enough to have a passing familiarity with the product. You have to be able to immerse yourself in it and fully understand it. Even if you're not going to explain every nuance of our program to every merchant you meet, you need to know every nuance of it because you'll be meeting with someone with whom one of our program components might be relevant. And that might be the difference between they're saying, yes, that's for me, or no, thank you. But if you're not even aware that that component exists or how it plays into helping them to accomplish their objective, then you're going to miss an opportunity. But more importantly, you're going to cheat that customer out of an opportunity. And that is something I am desperately looking to help avoid. We don't ever want to be in a position where we cheat someone out of the opportunity to benefit from our program because we were not educated enough on it ourselves to be able to properly present it. The next thing that you're going to need to be able to do as a skill is learn how to present the affiliate opportunity. What I mean by that is that in our business, in this particular opportunity, you not only earn money, income on the sales that you make, you have the ability to bring in other people, quality business professionals like yourself, and be rewarded with an override commission that you earn on their productivity. So it makes sense for you not only to find quality people to invite to join the program, but to take the time to make sure that they are educating themselves on the opportunity. Don't let it go over their heads, the opportunity that they have for themselves here. You will be handsomely rewarded by helping other people to appreciate the quality of the opportunity that we all have together to serve the people for whom this program was created. You're going to also need to learn the art of personal development. And what I mean by that is that in order for you to be the best that you can possibly be, in order for you to get the most out of your capabilities, you're going to have to make a commitment, not just to consistent activity with Village Connector, but consistent activity when it comes to being better tomorrow than you were today at who you are. You will attract the right people into your life. You will attract the right referral sources. You will attract the right resources if you make a commitment to always be looking to be better at who you are and what you do. That's one of the reasons we're constantly enhancing this program, is because we're looking to have the program be the best it can be at all times for our participating merchants, for the consumers that deal with those merchants, for the nonprofit organizations that depend on our fundraising opportunity, and for everyone else that benefits from our community newspaper. So make that commitment to yourself, because again, you will certainly be positioning yourself to underachieve if you cannot make a commitment to be the best that you can be at who you are. If you want things to get better, you have to get better. That's really where the commitment is. That's really what the commitment is all about. Now, the best way I know to get better at who you are and what you do is to make a commitment to training and personal development. And this is not some monumental effort either. I mean, I'm talking about taking the time to read 10 pages in a good book each day, or to listen to 30 minutes of a good audio training on some personal development or self-improvement principle. Most of us know where we have weaknesses. Most of us know where we have fears about what we're capable of doing. So if we made a commitment to overcome those fears by getting some training, usually training brings confidence, and the confidence allows you to be much more comfortable with the things that you're required to do. So I want to emphasize the importance of training and personal development. You should be looking to get training on a regular basis. And here with Village Connector, we're going to be providing that training. We're going to be making it easy for you to get the training through monthly webinars where we're typically covering something related to the product, but also sharing with you information that will help you to be better at who you are, because it's not just always about the product. It is also about you and how you perceive yourself, how you view yourself. So we want to make sure that we are getting training on a regular basis, and we can grow together for that matter. I learn just as much from the people who look to me for guidance and counseling and coaching as they do from me. I should probably pay them as much as they pay me to train them. But my point to you is that you need to be committed to getting training on a regular basis. When it's a choice between, do I go to happy hour or do I listen to this CD, if you can't figure out a way to do both, I think you know the choice that you need to be making more frequently than not. And trust me, it's not being at happy hour. You need to also apply what you learn. This is a big problem for a lot of us. We go to workshops and seminars and we take notes and we listen to webinars and we write all this stuff down and then we put the pads aside and never pick them up again. You need to actually make the commitment to take at least one or two things that you learn from every workshop, every seminar you go to, and put them into action. Remember, attitude, action, results, lifestyle. If you're not taking what you learn and putting it into action, then you're not going to get results with it. That's why there's so many good ideas out here that never make it to anything productive, because someone didn't understand that the good idea required implementation. So apply what you learn instead of just making it one more thing that you know you should be doing. You also then want to review your results, because the results that you get can always be enhanced by taking stock of what you're doing. If you're accomplishing your objective, if you feel good about where you are, then you might want to do more of it to accelerate those results. If you're not getting the results that you're looking for, you may want to take stock about whether or not you're doing the things properly, or doing them frequently enough, or doing them in the right contexts. But if you're not taking the time to review your results, if you're going month after month after month, struggling and struggling and struggling, and you're not taking a look at, is there anything I can do differently to get better, then you basically are dooming yourself to failure. So make a commitment to review your results so that you can make progress as opposed to migraine headaches. And then, of course, you want to make the commitment again to get more training. See, the funny thing about training is that people think once you've been trained, you're kind of done. There's no such thing as being done with training. You are on a path throughout your entire life where you are always exposed to things that can help you to be better at who you are and to achieve at a higher level. Anyone that thinks that they are done learning is done. And that's not something I want to see happen for you. So understand that everything that you're doing is going to provide you with an opportunity for personal growth. You just need to be open to the message. You've heard the phrase, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, if you're ready every day, there will be something new for you to learn every day, and that's going to make you better than your contemporaries who are closed-minded and not really looking for anything other than how to get back and forth through rush hour traffic without getting into a road rage incident. So trust me, if you make the commitment to train and you make a commitment to learn, you will always be on a path to success. Now, of course, we talked earlier about the importance of teaching others to do the same. If you invite people to join you on this journey, not only will you have workout partners who will inspire and motivate you, but you'll be helping others share in your prosperity. You'll be helping others to create prosperity for themselves. You will be helping others to become the best that they can be, and that means that they can be of more service to their community. And that all helps us to advance the ball with everything that we do. So See if you're in a position to make those commitments, because I'm telling you, this is the difference between being successful and just letting the wind blow you along the path. Now, in Village Connector, as in most things, there is a distinct cycle that we follow when it comes to building our business. And I'm going to specifically talk for the first time now about Village Connector and how this works. We start off by creating a game plan for ourselves. And what I mean by a game plan is that each of us should have some goal or goals in mind with respect to why we're part of Village Connector, whatever that goal may be, whether it's a lifestyle goal, whether it's an economic goal, whether it's a time freedom goal, or a combination of all those things. You need to have in mind what it is that you're trying to accomplish by being part of Village Connector. Let's assume that your goal right now is primarily an economic goal, where you're either looking to increase your income, develop an additional stream of revenue in your existing business, or to replace income that you may be making by working full-time someplace else so that you could have time freedom in your own business. That all takes planning. And so the first thing that I'm going to ask you to do is to make a commitment to decide again what it is you're trying to accomplish, because once you do that, we can then come up with the things, the action that you need to take in order to accomplish those things. Now, we have people here who are available to help you once you know what your goals are, to direct you and guide you and give you advice on the kinds of activities that you need to engage in to accomplish those goals. For example, if I know that you have an interest in developing a six-figure income over a set period of time, I can then help you to identify the activities and the frequency with which you need to engage in those activities to accomplish that goal. But if you don't know what you want to accomplish, if you don't know what it is you're doing here, it's kind of hard for someone to help you. So it's going to be up to you to decide what it is that you want to accomplish. But I am going to encourage you to reach out to us here at home office once you know what it is that you're looking to accomplish, so that we can then tell you the kinds of things that you need to be doing, the frequency with which you do them, and the quality at which you'll have to operate in order for that to be accomplished. You see, we're here to be part of your success story. That's my goal. My goal is to help every marketing advisor who comes to us to develop at least a six-figure income in this business. Because I know that if I could help someone to develop a six-figure income in this business, and it's a residual passive income, it opens up a lot of opportunities for them to do the things they want to do rather than doing the things that they feel they have to do. If you had a six-figure income coming into you year after year after year, regardless of whether you got up in the morning, you could spend more time coaching Little League teams, volunteering at the homeless shelter, helping people in your community with your area of expertise without having to charge them or hope that they're in a position to afford your services. There's all kinds of things that you could do if you could take income out of one of those things that you're concerned about. So my goal is to help you to develop the kind of income that allows you to have options, puts you in control of your destiny rather than an employer somewhere. But that all starts with a game plan, and the game plan is up to you. So the next step is that once we have a game plan, obviously if we're going to generate income from what we're doing, we have to be in a position to invite people to take a look at what we're doing so that they can see whether this is something from which they could benefit. And that involves contacting them and inviting them to take a look. We're going to be, in our rest of our training, teaching you how to contact and invite people, merchants, referral sources, whomever it might be, to take a look at what we have to offer. And of course, the next step in the process, once you've invited them to take a look, is to have the opportunity to give them a presentation. And sometimes, depending on what we have going on, we may have a trial of some type that we can get a free trial or a limited time trial, or even some complimentary memberships that we give out periodically. Whatever it is, you want to get that opportunity to explore and have a dialogue with the people who you are sharing the information with to see whether it's a good fit for them. And you will find that when you follow that cycle, there will be people at the end of that cycle who will want to sign up and become part of what we're doing. And when that happens, you generate income, of course, for yourself. And of course, if you're doing it in a quality way, you then simply go back and start from scratch, which is to make sure that your game plan is the same and that you repeat the cycle. So the key here is consistency in your activity, and that's what leads to results. This cycle, this is our business. That's how simple our business is. It's basically a 4-step process that you repeat over and over and over again. And by repeating it, the better you get at it, the more effective you'll be. The more effective you'll be, the more comfortable you'll be when it comes to achieving results and achieving the lifestyle that you're looking for. Now, your game plan may change from time to time. You may decide that you'd like to double your income, or that you'd like to find a way to make the same amount of money, reducing the amount of time it takes to do that. But start somewhere so that you have the ability to at least have some focus. Now, in every opportunity, there are usually 3 things that come into play that affect whether you'll be successful or not. And there's only one of those things that is within your control. And you'll see what I'm talking about right here. The first thing is the product. If you're working with a company and everyone is selling the same product, and you will be selling the same product with a bunch of other marketing advisors who will be working with us, I want you to understand that if you're not being successful and other people are, it's not the fault of the product. Because if the product was the problem, no one would be successful. So if you're not achieving success and other people are, we're going to need to take a look at what you're doing, not at the product, but at what you're doing. Because as I said, if it was the product's problem, then everyone would be unsuccessful with it. Now, if it ever got to the point where that was the issue, I'm going to be looking at the product myself along with a bunch of other people. But I know that we've got a good product. So if you're not having success with it, let's be prepared to take a look at why that's happening. The other thing, of course, is the opportunity. And what I mean by that is, in this instance, the compensation plan. If you're not being successful in generating income through our compensation plan and other people are, it's probably not the compensation plan. It may be something you're doing and how you approach it. So just be aware that we're going to probably end up having to look at something other than the compensation plan or the opportunity if you're not having success with it. Now, as you might have guessed by now, the only variable in this whole thing is you. And the chances are better that if you're not being successful, it's not because of the product or the opportunity. It's probably because of something you're doing or not doing. And so I want to make sure that you understand that if you come to us for help, we're going to take a look at what you're doing. We're going to take a look at the quality of what you're doing. We're going to take a look at the frequency that you're doing it with. And we're going to look at what we can do to help you to get better, because 9.5 times out of 10, the adjustments that need to be made to help you to be successful reside with you, not with the product or the opportunity. Now, that's not to say that we're not open to suggestions and feedback and things that we can do to enhance the product. 99% of the results of the changes we've made to this program are the result of feedback we've gotten from either marketing advisors that work with us or from our customers. And those of you who have made suggestions know that we're very responsive, because again, we want people to enjoy this program, and so we're very responsive when they have questions or have suggestions. But again, I've been selling this program for about a year now, and I didn't wait until it was perfect before I shared it with the first customer. And I know that customers have signed up everywhere along the continuum. Some of the customers that signed up when we first got started are amazed at how much it's changed, but you know what? They didn't wait until it was perfect in their minds today compared to when they signed up. So let's not let the fact that things are not perfect at every instance be the reason why we're sitting around waiting for something to happen or waiting for it to get better. Can you imagine if everyone waited to use Windows until it was perfect? It's not perfect today. We'd still be waiting for it to be perfect. Now, keep in mind that we are here to help you. We're here to help you to get better at what you do, better at who you are, and to get better results. We're also here to guide you. But one thing that we cannot do it for you. Our goal is to help, guide, and support you, and to empower you and enable you to do for yourself. Because we're not trying to be like government, trying to do everything for you. We're here to help you to do the things that you need to do to be able to be self-supporting. We would rather teach you to fish than to fish for you, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. Success in your business is up to you. Now, in order for you to accomplish that success, it's again important for you to be teachable. And what I mean by that is that we all come to this business, all come to Village Connector with varying levels of expertise and experience and training and things of that nature. But I've yet to find anyone who understands this product better than I do. And it's not an arrogance thing. It's the fact that I have truly immersed myself in the program at a level that I think exceeds anyone else who's working with us right now. Now, the fact is that if I ever got to the point where someone had immersed themselves in the program more than I did, then I would need to be a little more teachable myself. You will find, though, that I'm very teachable. Because, as I said, we've enhanced this program many times over from feedback I've gotten from people. But what I usually find, though, is that if people at least start out doing the things I teach them to do based on the years I've been developing this program, because even though the program itself, Village Connector, the newspaper, has only been around for about a year as of March 2011. Actually, April 26th of 2011 will be our one-year anniversary with the newspaper. This program, in some incarnation or another, has been around for years now. So I've seen all the mistakes. I've got a lot of battle scars associated with making those mistakes. I've also got a lot of excitement about seeing where we made mistakes and making adjustments that then changed the results that we were getting. And again, so everything that I'm teaching you here in this little workshop are things that I've done. That's why I know that they're the right things to do, because I truly know that we are on the right track right now. Now, if I find, though, that you're getting off track, either because you insist on doing things differently and then we find out that that's the reason why you're not achieving success, I'm not going to have a lot of time to try to pull you back on track. I'm going to need for you to realize that you're off track and to come on back and join us on the path that we're going. Because as I said before, if there are people being successful with the program and you're not, it's more likely you than them. It's more likely you than the product. So we're going to ask you to get back on the train, take your seat, and come along for the ride with us by doing the things that we're teaching you to do. Now, there's 4 areas of teaching and knowledge that you're going to need to master in order to be successful in anything. The first is learned knowledge. That's where you're learning out of a book or through a workshop like what we're doing here, or through on-the-job training where you're observing someone who already has the skills that you're seeking to acquire. That's all what we call learned knowledge. And that's important because there is no element of knowledge that's more important than another, but this is one of the ways that we learn. The next way that we learn is through what we call activity knowledge. There's that word again, activity. We want to make sure that you understand that in order for you to reach your full potential, you're going to have to get out and do something. And it's the doing that allows you to assess whether what you're doing is the right thing to do and whether you're doing it well enough. So please understand that activity knowledge is going to be a big part of your learning experience. Modeling knowledge is another thing that's going to be important to you. Modeling knowledge is very simple. If you see someone that is achieving at the level that you'd like to achieve, then you need to find out what they're doing and model yourself after that person so that you would theoretically be able to achieve the results that they're getting. And there really is very little reason why you wouldn't. If you can develop the same skills as someone else that is being successful, the chances are that if that formula worked for them, it would work for you. It's not true in every instance, but the odds are that if you looked at what someone was doing to be successful and modeled yourself after the activities that they engaged in, the training that they underwent, the commitment that they made to be successful, chances are good you could have that level of success or better yourself. So modeling knowledge is going to be important. And the last one, and not the least, is teaching knowledge. One of the reasons it's nice that we give you the opportunity to bring other people to the table with you is that the teaching that you do, when you have to prepare to understand a topic or a product or a service well enough to be able to teach other people, to master that product or service, you learn it that much better for yourself. That's one of the reasons why I know this stuff so well, is because I needed to learn it not just for me, but for you. And when you have to learn it not just for you, but for the people that you bring onto your team, you're going to know it that much better. Your confidence level is going to go up. The activity that you engage in is going to be more productive, and you yourself will grow along with your team members. That's why all of this is so important. No element of learning is more important than another. They're all important. Now, I know from personal experience that people have varying levels of ability to take things seriously. If you represent a number of different products, you have a tendency to be focused on the ones that you're most comfortable in or the ones you're most confident in. And the bottom line is that if you took a look, the ones that you are most serious about are the ones that you probably do the best with, whatever it is, whether it's Village Connector or something else. But what I'm saying to you is that you're going to need to decide to treat the Village Connector program very seriously. What I want you to pretend as you think about Village Connector is that you had to invest $500,000 in order to represent this product. Because the truth is, there are people out here who are buying franchises to represent products comparable to ours. It might not be $500,000 worth of product, but they're paying money to be able to represent a product that is nothing on the scale when it's stacked up against what we do. And I don't want you to not take us seriously because you didn't have to pay a hefty fee or monthly residuals or royalties for a franchise or a territory sale back to some other company. We specifically chose our business model to eliminate that as a requirement for people to participate, because we wanted to create an opportunity that people would look at and know that the grass is never going to be greener someplace else. But that also has a tendency to lend itself to people feeling, well, I didn't have to pay anything to get in. It must not be that good. Trust me, you are sitting in one of the best positions that you can ever occupy if you are taking this business opportunity seriously. So condition yourself mentally to visualize yourself making a $500,000 investment to represent this company, because I'm telling you right now, you will make you will make a return on that investment consistent with the belief that you have about the product. Now, sometimes when people get involved with a new opportunity, they get very excited. It's easy when you see something and it looks good to get excited about it. In fact, you actually go through a stage where you feel like you're not able to get any sleep. And the bottom line is that that's a good feeling to have, but you got to temper that, because then you'll go out and share the program with somebody else and they don't see it the way you did, either because you didn't present the vision for them the way it had been presented to you, and then all of a sudden you're knocked down a couple pegs and now you start experiencing self-doubt. And that's usually what happens when you've not properly prepared yourself to adequately present the product. You haven't immersed yourself in it enough to be able to do it justice when you start talking to people about it, and therefore they don't see the value proposition the way that you did, and you become disappointed and start questioning whether you're doing the right thing. And sometimes we have a tendency to go up and down like that, and when we do, we have up and down results in our business. Now the fact is that while you're getting good at what you do, you're going to go through these up and down cycles. My message to you here is not to let any one day or any 1 week or any 1 month of your activity determine your future with this company or anything else that you're doing, because the fact is that you need to find a way to remain even-keeled throughout all of your experiences. You can't allow someone to feel that you're desperate to make the sale. You can't allow someone to feel that you're being disingenuous and presenting it to them, trying to oversell the thing, because you need to make a sale. So the best thing to do is to maintain an even keel, to have some level of objectivity, and not allow yourself to get up too high or down too low when it comes to promoting the program. Now, another thing that people sometimes have difficulty understanding is that anytime you're new to something, there is an investment of both time and money that's necessary for you to take full advantage of whatever it is that you happen to be doing. Some opportunities require more money invested up front to be able to get started. That's a barrier that we've made very low for you, since it doesn't cost you anything economically to get involved in this business. But if you're looking at the bottom of our little scale here, this little green scale in the upper right hand corner of the screen, you'll see that the years as they go by, in the beginning years, you end up investing more time and making less money. And that sometimes can be considered a startup phase. It could be a learning curve. It could be any number of things. But the point is that that is the pattern that is probably characteristic of every business known to mankind. But as you continue to consistently make that investment of time, you eventually start getting to the point where you end up making more money spending less time. And that's because you get better at what you do. If you're in an opportunity like ours where there's a residual income, where you do something one time and have the ability to get paid over and over, as you start getting better at what you do and accumulating customers that see the value proposition and that stay plugged in with us, then you start to compound the results that you get. You know, for example, let's say you brought on a new customer today, and that's the only customer that came in for the entire month. You might be making only $15 a month on that customer. But then next month, you get better at who you were after doing it for a whole month, and you end up with 10 customers next month. Well, now you've got 11 customers that are paying $15 a month, and you're earning $15 a month on $50 a month, and you're earning $15 a month on each one. Now the next thing you know, the following month, you've sold one a day. You've sold 30 customers. And then the next month, you might have sold 60 customers. But they're compounding each month because the ones that you brought on the month before are still generating an income stream for you. If that pattern followed itself throughout an entire year, you could potentially end up with 1,000 customers at the end of a year, all paying you $15 a piece to be in this program, in which case you would be making more money and spending less time doing it. The problem for most people is that they never do the activities necessary or long enough to get to the point where they're making more money and spending less time. And most of the reason that that happens is because they're too focused on the money and not focused on the value proposition that they're offering customers. So I'm going to ask you to focus more of your attention on quality presentations and making sure that customers understand the opportunity for themselves, and stop focusing so much on how much money you're going to make. The money, I promise you, will take care of itself if you focus on the quality of what you're doing with and for your customers, not to them. Now again, just to reiterate, the 4 basic skills that you're going to need to be able to be successful with this and any other business is learning how to present the product, learning how to recruit quality marketing advisors to join your team, and then teaching and supporting them. And of course, the last one is, again, there it is, personal development. If you can master those 4 skills, I promise you that not only will you be successful with us, you'll be successful in everything else that you do. Now, in our business, when you're dealing with people who are new to you, they lack trust. For one thing, you're not familiar to them. They don't know why they should trust you. They don't know if you're trying to take advantage of them. They don't know if you're looking out for their interest or yours. They assume that you're looking out for yours. So one of the ways that we overcome the trust problem that we have when we first meet someone who's a potential customer is by hopefully using what we call the power of third party. Third party helps you to develop trust and respect where you might not have it with the prospect. And you do that through quality introductions where you have someone who you know in common that can introduce you to a customer. That's why referrals or warm market referrals are great. But one of the other things that can help to substitute for a warm market referral is sharing information consistently with people, inviting them to see a webinar about the product rather than hearing it come out of the words of your, out of your mouth. Inviting them to take a look on the website for information that might help them to answer questions on their own terms, on their own time. Inviting them to join us for a live presentation or sharing one of our written press releases or some other literature with them. All of these are great ways to help to improve the credibility of the product for them. They say that the average person makes a buying decision after seeing something 4 to 7 times. The problem for most of us is we're trying to make the sale in the first exposure that that person has. And it's not that they object to it, it's that they weren't thinking about Village Connector before you came in the door, so they can't possibly be sold on it on the level that you are if they're being introduced to it for the first time. So don't allow haste to take away the opportunity for you to make that customer part of your customer base. Because again, you'll be cheating yourself and the customer out of the opportunity if you rush the process. And this is why it's so important to engage in consistent consistent activity. You can't afford to camp out on one customer and hope that they're going to get in and that's going to be your commission for the month or for the week or whatever. You've got to continually introduce the program to multiple people as frequently as possible, because you never know when that person or who is going to be ready and when. The more people you introduce it to, the more likely they are to eventually make the decision to come and join us. So if you've only introduced it to 5 people, there's a good chance that not all 5 of them are going to be ready at the same time. If you introduced it to 50 people, you've got a much better chance that 10 out of those 50 might be ready to move forward right now and another 10 next month. And that's why consistency is so important. So use the tools to overcome the lack of credibility you may have with people that you're meeting for the first time, but use your strategic alliance partners, and we'll talk more about that in another presentation, to introduce you and make quality introductions. You can overcome a lot of objections just by being introduced by someone that they trust and someone that trusts you to do the right thing. Now, when you do reach out to contact and invite people to take a look at the program, again, be yourself. And what I mean by that is be enthusiastic, but don't be over the top. A lot of times we do damage to our ability to relate to people when we are too excited. It sounds plastic, it sounds fake to them, and that puts their guard up. And they know you have an agenda then. And they know the agenda has very little to do with whether you can do something for them versus whether it's going to benefit you. So be enthusiastic, but be yourself. It's important to have a sense of urgency, because having a sense of urgency with the right spirit signals to the person that you don't want them to miss an opportunity, so they do need to stop what they're doing and take a look to avoid missing the opportunity. And that's especially true with our charter and lifetime memberships, where there's a limited number of them and they're available in each county we operate in. You don't want someone to miss it because they say, well, come back and see me in 60 days, and there's 3 charter memberships left and they're going to miss it. Have a sense of urgency without appearing to be desperate. It's a fine line between the two. And if you always have service in your heart, and what I mean by that is that if it's not about making the sale, but creating an opportunity for your customer, the rest of this, the message that you send to them, the signals that you send to them, will be consistent. So please make sure that you don't allow making the sale to be your end goal. Making the customer happy with a program that can benefit them will give you the sale without your having to focus on the sale. So keep it simple and keep it natural. Now, there are a lot of things that you need to, not a lot, there are several things that you need to avoid doing that will undermine your efforts. The first, of course, is you need to focus on offering a value to the customer, not on making the sale, just like we said here. If it's more important for you to make the sale, you'll end up trying to fit a square peg in a round hole for a customer that may not be appropriate for the program. Or you may not have shown them the things that would have been appropriate for them because you were more interested in just getting them sold. Focus on the value proposition to the customer, not on how much you're going to make when they settle up with us. You also need to focus on customer benefit, not on how you benefit. You know that if you can show the customer how they benefit with the program, that you're going to benefit because they're going to sign up and become one of your customers. But again, this goes back to Zig Ziglar's teachings. If you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything that you want. The problem is that most of us want to have what we want whether we've helped anyone or not. And that's, again, where we're preying on people, not preying with them. Our goal with this program is to offer a value to the communities that we serve. You must remain focused on that at all times. It's not just about whether you're going to make a $750 or a $750 commission today. It's about whether that client is going to get a value out of having a charter or a lifetime membership and being able to promote their business too. You also want to focus on educating your customer, not selling them. So many times we want to pitch them. I don't like the word pitch because you're not pitching anyone. If you're doing the job right, you're educating your customer on how they benefit when they choose to become part of our program. So this shouldn't really be a sale. It is a sale if you characterize it as being an exchange of value. But the bottom line is that the process of getting to the sale is about educating your client, not selling them on it. People like to buy, they just don't like to be sold. So if you can change your polarity to become an advisor, that's why your advisor role is so important. You really are there to advise them. That's why you want to find out what it is they're already doing so you can show them where our product may help to enhance the results that they're getting, fill a gap that they have, or to be something that they're not even thinking about. So again, avoid these little faux pas and you will increase your results exponentially. There's only one way to do that, and that is to, again, to be operating with a servant's heart. Now, everyone always worries about where am I going to meet people that I can introduce the program to? And this is, again, a subject for another lesson, but I do want to address it here. One of the things we encourage you to do is to identify what we call strategic alliance partners. Those are people who serve the same target market that we do with products and services that don't compete with ours. Let me give you an example. We are working with business-to-business sales. Our customers are business owners looking to sell products and services primarily to end consumers, and in some instances business to business as well. So if we were working with a commercial printer who sells business cards, letterhead, envelopes, and other print material to business owners who are then looking to sell to consumers, that would be a good referral partner for you, either to be on your team or at least to make referrals to you, because you've got products and services that serve the same target market but don't compete with what they have. An accountant, a business attorney, a business coach, some other type of marketing professional that offers a variety of different services to their clients could easily add our program to the menu of options they have available when they're working with their clients. So all these, in fact, some of you fit into that category. Some of you have come to us because you had other products and services that you were offering to the small business community, and this became a natural to add to your natural arrow to add to your quiver, or a natural menu addition, if you will, for you to be able to offer to your clients. So if you just took the time to identify the industries that are servicing the same target market that we are, if you're looking to sell the program to restaurants, how about a wine distributor? How about a food distributor? They're going into the restaurants trying to get them to buy food and wine. If you could show them how, if they put their clients in this marketing program, they'd sell a lot more food or wine to the restaurant, then that would benefit the restaurant, them, and you. And that's where showing them the value proposition is important. If you also showed them how they could generate an additional stream of revenue from working with that client, then they might actually see the ability to reduce their price on the client because they can make another stream of revenue from them, and then that makes them more competitive than the next person that's trying to compete for that business. But however you do it, it starts with identifying people who are a good referral source for you and for whom you'll be a good referral source. Again, that's a subject for another lesson that we're going to get into when we get into the merits and the substantive presentation and sharing of the product. But as you can see, if you had 10 referral partners who each had just 100 names, 100 businesses that they worked with, you could easily have an unlimited number of people to follow up with. Because if you then sold an account to a client, to a customer who came on board with us, and then you asked them just to give you the names of 5 or 10 other business owners who they thought would be a good fit to benefit from the program along with them, you would never run out of warm market prospects. If a customer just made the decision to get the program for himself or herself, you know that they have colleagues and other business professionals that they do business with. Many of them are members of chambers of commerce, business associations, referral groups. And if the decision was a good one for them, not only do they want to share that with their friends, but they almost want to validate their decision by making sure their friends see it. So for every sale that you make, if you just asked for the names of 5 other business professionals who would be a good fit to be in the program along with the person who just signed up, you would position yourself to never run out of referrals. You'd never have to worry about cold calling. You'd never have to worry about the level of rejection that comes along with direct solicitation when someone doesn't know you. And you'd immediately have credibility because you could point to someone who introduced you who already is part of the program. So think about that. Not just with Village Connector, but with everything that you do in your business life. Now, we're going to come full circle again, because now it's time for you to decide whether you're in a position to make the commitment to do the things that are necessary to be successful in this business. And again, the first thing that you're going to need to do is to think about, who are you sharing the program with on a daily basis? If you have a day go by where you're not sharing this program with someone, then that's the reason that you are not being successful with the program. It's a very low level of commitment to say to yourself, I'm going to call on 3 customers today and introduce them to Village Connector. Many times that's a matter of reaching out, sharing a link to a website, and then following up with them. It's not even necessarily a live presentation in every instance, although that's a great opportunity if you can get an appointment. But 3 appointments that last less than 45 minutes a day, 3 appointments, 45 minutes each, if you could do that consistently each day, I can't imagine that you wouldn't be successful in generating a 6-figure income with us. But you've got to think about, who are you sharing the program with today. You also have to make the commitment to stay up on new developments. We add new products, new programs, new benefits, new features to this thing almost monthly. Because again, we're trying to constantly improve the value proposition so that, again, just like you're not thinking that there's ever going to be a place where the grass is greener on the other side, neither are our clients. We don't ever want them looking to see if somebody's got a better way to do this. We want them to know that we are always on top of keeping them on the cutting edge so that they can just continue to benefit from the program without worrying about finding something better. So you've got to stay on top of new developments. It's not my job to make sure, it's not our job to make sure that you're educated. You've got to plug in the information. We'll provide it, but it's up to you to consume it and to stay on top of things. You also need to ask yourself, what have you learned today about the program? There are so many things to this program that you could learn something new every day, and every day that you do, you're better equipped to share that message with your clients, to make sure that they don't miss out on an opportunity because you didn't know that we had the ability for them to send their customers to the social network where they can post reviews of their clients or post reviews of the merchant. You didn't know that there was a learning center where they could go in and ask their marketing questions and get them answered. You didn't know that they could post a coupon every day if they wanted to because it's included in the program. You never want to be in a position where there was something that you could have told your client that would have made a difference in terms of whether they stayed on board or got on board, and it's only because you didn't stay on top of the program that you missed that opportunity, and that they did too. And you want to make sure that you're making a commitment to be able to present the program without constant support from home office. Now, what I mean by that is this. I'm not suggesting that we're not here for you. What I am suggesting is that most of our people who are higher, been around a little longer than you have, cannot afford to have to be with you every time you make a sale. In some ways, I have personally created weakness in the sales force because I've allowed people to simply have someone call me and I'll explain it to them. We definitely need to get away from that, because all that does is it removes your incentive to learn how to be better tomorrow than you were today. If you are not presenting from cradle to grave how this program works and getting an application completed at the end of that process without involving us, then we are not being successful, and ultimately we're creating weakness in you. Because we're structuring this program so that you are able to be successful without involving us. Obviously, there's no way we can be around every time a new member signs up. So if you find yourself calling home office and say, hey, can someone call and talk to this client and see if you can get them on board, or they have questions I can't answer, well, I ought to be answering the questions for you so that you can go back to your customer and answer the questions. The solution shouldn't be for you to send them to me. The solution should be for you to call, get your questions answered, and then share that information with your customer. After all, you're the one that has the relationship with the customer. It would be better that they hear it from you anyway, especially if they know that you went back and researched it, got the right answer, and came back to share it with them. Now, again, we want to be helpful to you. We want to support you. We want to guide you, and we definitely want to help you. But we can't do it for you. One of the reasons we pay such high commissions is because we want you to get the job done. You see, if I have to be around every time there's a sale, I'm going to have to start splitting your commission with you, and that's not what I want for you. I want you to earn the commission, not me. Now, if you can do the things that we've shared here in this short presentation, and believe me, this was short considering how much it has the potential to advance the ball for you. If you can make the commitment to live that positive mental attitude, to make the commitment to engage in the right activities, to make the commitment to be better tomorrow than you were today, and to make that part of your day every day, there is nothing that will stop you with Village Connector or anything else that you choose to do. So I'm actually very excited at this point. If you've seen this portion, if you've gotten this far in the presentation, you're still here, you're still listening, you're believing that you're able to do this, then you should be very excited at this point, because if your head is in the game, there is nothing that will stop you from accomplishing your objective. I do want you to reach out to me for some guidance and assistance with formulating your game plan. But after that, we're going to put you on the track and let you drive the train. So on behalf of Village Connector, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation, and I want to encourage you to continue on to the next stage of the training, where we'll be getting into some practical exposure to the elements of the program, how to identify leads and referral sources, how to present the program, how to put your paperwork together, and how to make the most of the opportunity for both you and the people we serve. So thanks again for going this far. We hope you're still on board with us. If so, let's get excited, because it's time for us to take some action.